this, and I say, yo, what up?
What's up, dude? Excited to be here.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, Paul, we are doing a deck doctor on Ida's older brother, Ingenium. I'm excited. I think these characters are kind of cracked. These characters way better than his brother.
I think like Ida one, like he always had the problem where like he could pump a bunch of speed, but like at least with me, he relied too much on Recipro Burst.
Right.
And I struggled to like get damage with him. But then Ingenium came out and I was just like, wait, you get +3 damage and you can ready during the enhanced stuff where you give a buff to speed. This guy is like at least I think he's pretty cracked.
Yeah, he feels very good. Way better than I gave him a initial credit for.
For sure.
So for the people at home, if you've never done a deck doctor before, basically what's going to happen is Paul's going to give me an elevator pitch on his super rad Ingenium deck. We're going to go through and we're going to chit chat about the changes and ways we can polish this deck to make it even more awesome. So with that, man, hit me with the pitch. What's this Ingenium deck doing?
Yeah, man. So with this deck, I wanted to play him like kind of as a poke and backswing character because I think that's what he's best suited for.
Right.
And I kind of started it off like I was building the Ida deck, and what I kind of want to do with him is I want to play him kind of aggro, and kind of start and kind of like string together some of the smaller checked attacks into the bigger hit attacks.
Right.
So,
give me
like,
some examples. What are you thinking?
So, for example, one combo that I've been really liking is you start with a Recipro Extend. You do the +2/+2, and then you go into either a Flying Thruster Kick or a Falling Thruster Kick to get the combo. Right. Since both of them get some kind of combo benefit from it.
Falling Thruster Kick doesn't work with Extend. But it does work with Flying Thruster Kick. So if you go Extend, Flying, Falling, it very much does, right?
Okay, bet. Yeah, that's on me for not reading that.
That's all good. That's why we're here.
Gotta read the cards. Yeah. But, yeah, so doing that kind of thing and kind of getting just a bunch of heavy strings like that. And then if you have a Recipro Acceleration Kick, you can just clear out the card pool, do another big hit, which, that can be tough because you can't mill yourself out like that, but I have found some decent success. Running it like that. But basically just stringing together a bunch of attacks and finding one to pump up damage on. One or two to pump up the damage and speed on. I will say, though, with this deck, I think the attacks are pretty all right. Super open to change them. This entire thing, I'm super open to just change to whatever. But that's why I'm here, of course. But I think the foundations need a lot of help. I think I have some decent ones going my way. But I think that not a whole lot of, like, I don't know. I feel like not a whole lot of them are doing exactly what I want them to do. I don't know, like I got a couple of I was kind of building off of blocks because I know with Order last set, I was struggling a lot with getting good blocks in. And so I was planning this set out like, okay, so I want like to even out my blocks and all that stuff. But then with the cards that I got, I was kind of like, these don't really help me at all.
Fair.
Yeah. So, I don't know, like, where is it? Like, Fruit of Our Labors is like, okay. It's like I can't remember if it's a high or a low. I think it's a high block.
Fruit's a low.
Fruit's a low? Okay, so yeah, Fruit's a low too. And like, it kind of works, but I rarely get to a point I find where I'm blocking with enough to discard from the card pool.
Right.
And then, I haven't used Fusion enough to really tell. Fusion seems great, but I haven't used it enough to really tell how it's going to work. And then, I really only have Self-Sack and Bonds of Friendships in there as defensive cards. But other than that, they don't really do too much for me from what I've found.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree, and I've tossed some stuff into our sideboard that I wanna chit chat about. So as we
please,
refresh, we got a list.
please. Oh hell yeah, let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
This is what I wanted.
All right. So first and foremost, I think this is gonna be both Ida 1 and Ida 2's best card.
Okay.
I think this card. These cards fucked up in these characters. Giving this thing +3 speed and saying, "Hey, we're both back down to 5," is so insane. And the fact that we're in the enhanced step, we don't care about the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
Keeping my opponent on a very low foundation count, and then stacking up on this big momentum, and then popping off with a burst that they just can't pay for is exactly what we want.
Right, right.
I mean, so this card is insane. I don't know if it needs to be in your main board. I think it being in your sideboard is there. If you feel like your opponent is building out too much against you so that they are allowed to block your moves, this is the card to go to. So first and foremost, let's just get that out of the way.
Absolutely.
Up next, we've got Electric Jolt. I think this is the hidden move for Ingenium. It has EX2, so we are allowed to pump its damage if we want to. So making this a 6 mid for 7 with stun 1. If it's completely blocked, it still deals 1 damage. If they start doing things, they get punished for it. It's an EX move, so it does combo with falling thruster kick. Maybe we take some of these and we put them more to 3-ofs as opposed to 4-ofs.
Absolutely.
And have a little disruption on our opponent's turn, because this defense is only good on 1 move, but we want to shut them down so that we can mess around with stuff.
Absolutely.
No kicks. He does not interact with kick keyword. We don't care. We just care about EX or slam. This card has EX. This card has EX. This card has EX. This card has EX. We actually don't care about the kick keyword. You're right.
Yeah,
the only move we can't touch is Reciproc Extend. With both of his abilities.
And I'm not going to be pumping that one anyways. It's a setup card.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking to John? Oh, sorry. I'll turn off chat. I don't want to talk to you guys anyways. I think this card's cracked. I think this card's really, really good, and I think it's probably, it's possibly, I'm gonna invent a word, possibly a better card than Reciprocal Acceleration Kick at the end of the day.
Okay.
Depending on how we feel about like these big long strings that we do.
Okay. Word.
I have found a ton of success with Engine Rush.
Okay.
8 mid for 8. That if they don't block, you draw 2 cards is beefy. It's so beefy. It's nuts. It's very, very good. And then the other big condition for Ingenium that I think matters is 1 for all full Cowling Strike of response. Give this thing, because it's an attack, right? Give this thing +3 speed, so it's a 7 high for 6 that if they don't block, they commit their character. There's going to be plenty of characters in this next set that are going to matter. Like, imagine playing this card against Stain. He's got to block it. Like, he has to, because he has to leverage that response -3 to the check over and over again. And if he does decide to do it on the check of this move, you haven't burnt your response, and he still gets to have it. So like all of these are options that you could like slot a 1 of Searing main board, slot a 1 of Full Cowling main board, and feel very, very good about it.
Yeah, I like these options a lot. I actually had, you're going to be like, why'd you take it out? I actually had Engine Rush in my original version of this deck.
Yeah.
But I think I ended up taking it out just because I ended up thinking like I wanted to play it more string heavy.
Right.
But I think that's a lame excuse, and I think it's too good a card to not really have.
So the other option is like the enhanced commit we just don't even care about, right? Like this card is so good because of that bottom enhance, making this a pseudo flash attack and us being able to pop it as like an 8 mid for 5 when they're at 3. It's like, hey, it's plus ultra or bust, man. Sorry, you have to figure it out. Is just like really good value. I don't know if it needs to be a 4 of, right? But it easily could come in at a 2 of and feel fine. And it also helps us shore up our low blocks, right? Because this is
absolutely
high, mid, high, low, right?
Yeah.
So now we've got 5 here. That feels good. I think we're gonna take this Recipro down to a 2 of. We take Burst down to a 3 of, and we toss Jolton at like a 2 of.
Totally.
And what does that do with our numbers? We've only increased by 1, and then our block zones are still tight, right?
Yeah.
We got 2, 5, 7 highs, and then 5 lows, 8 mids. I want to cut. How do you feel about 2 checks? Are you down? Are you man? Are you manly?
Let me tell you something. I ate my nails for breakfast this morning. I'm a man.
Yeah.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna be crazy. We're gonna toss this down to a 3 of, and we're just gonna put in the one glacial. And we might sideboard the other. If you feel like this card is putting in, is doing God's work, we just cut this to do 2 and 2.
That
Yeah. Because once again, like we don't have to waste the damage pump on this card. We're allowed to just like sling it for the 5/5 or 6. And if we don't want to, right? If the board still is small enough, we still make it 5/5 or 6. We give it stun 2, and then it's like an easy momentum that we get to cheat in for a reciprocal later.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I played Sarah a lot first set, so I've been a little scarred by 2 checks, but I'm willing to
okay.
I'm willing to bite the bullet.
Personally, I think this card's way better than Tape Swing. That's how I feel, at least. I think
better.
this card is hella worth. I think like I know I've been talking a big Bakugo 2 game. This card is like, man, set 2 is so cool. It got so many bombs. If Cementos is the terror that I think he's going to be, then this card is the one card to fight that guy.
Cementos is terrifying, bro.
Yeah.
I can't believe he got printed, man.
Cementos auto loses to this card. There's nothing that he can do about it. There's actually nothing that character can do. And so like if Cementos is going to be running all over the place, then this is the foundation to play. And I'm bound to play a greedy order deck.
Yeah, dude, me too.
Okay, so I'm gonna speed through a lot of these cards. A lot of these are like staple cards from set 1 that you're just missing. Things like Passing the Torch, things like Tape, things like Shock Treatment, Creepy Realization, Desperate Times. These are all cards that easily can be in there. Highest on the list is things like Passing the Torch. If you play this and they decide to enhance during your card, like if the first thing that you respond with this and then the first thing you do is Passing the Torch, they're not allowed to play an enhance. They're not allowed to, because then you get to ready Passing the Torch and you get to draw an additional card, right? On the next move. And so like this card just like as soon as you press this button, you look at your opponent and say you don't get any more. You just don't get to, because I'm going to outvalue with my foundations. I get Passing the Torch. I get things like calling for backup in order to like really leverage all the cards that I'm going to be drawing. With Engine Rush in our deck, we're going to be drawing even more cards. We are a value machine, which is why Searing's only at the 1 of. It's really there for if we lose the die roll and we are forced to go second. They build, I build, they build. You bop Searing Glacial and go, no, I'm going first again.
Yep.
Yeah. But things like Creepy doing the exact same job. If you decide to use your response late on like your 3rd attack, and then you pop a Creepy as the first move, they can't play Enhances to try and save themselves. They're 2 cards deep. This is +2 damage. They play an ability. They ready it back up. Classmate Introductions does the exact opposite thing, where we get 2 Classmate Introductions and make this first move really big, right? Like I pop off with an Engine Rush and say, yo, it is an 8 mid for 8. And I'm going to give it a little bit more speed. If you don't block my Engine Rush, not only am I going to draw more cards off the Engine Rush, but then the rest of my moves also get fast, which is the biggest thing that Ida has an issue with, is these big, long strings and them actually being speedy and relevant, which Ida 3 gets to change up with, which is an easy sideboard character from what we're doing with Ingenium, right? And that's where we do put in the 4x reciprocal acceleration kick, because that card's nuts in Ida 3.
Yep.
But I think things like trying to figure out what commit costs we want to leverage to force our opponent to be like, yo, you're just not allowed to do this.
Right.
Onto the set 2 stuff. I think things like the Frosting are very cool, because -1 speed on our character for +2 damage feels good, especially when we're like zooming so much speed at them. Dropping, making this like a 2 low and then dropping 3 momentum into it, and then just like giving the plus damage like might be enough. Ice Gliding, I feel, is actually just a better version of Fusion for the symbols that it has. Ice Gliding says it gets +1 or -2 speed, whereas this says your EX or kick gets +2 speed, or your rival attack gets -2 speed. This is -3 speed across the turn, where it could be +2 across 2 separate moves. It is interesting. I think this is exclusively a how do I feel about these cards, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's
go ahead.
It's a 1 check. It's a 1 of, right? And Fusion's a 2 of.
No,
or
it's a
2 check.
Yeah, 1/5 2 mid block, 1/5 3 mid block. The block on Ice Gliding is technically worse than Fusion. Technically.
Word.
Technically.
Got you.
Yeah, but I think that this card might be better, or even like, you ready? So like the thing about set 2 and the thing that we get to do, you ready? Is we drop fusion down to a 2 of, and we put ice lighting in at a 1 of, and so they do roughly the same thing, but they're just niche enough that I've got 1 fusion on board, 1 ice lighting on board, and now I've got slightly different options, right? The Venn diagram is still there, but as opposed to all my eggs in the fusion basket, I've got some maneuverability with it with an ice gliding.
I love it.
Yeah. Challenging the fakes, this card's insane. This card's messed up. Same thing with Hero Killer. I think this card being able to, in tandem with Searing Glacial Storm, says that really important foundations that they play. Like, imagine my opponent plays the sticky balls on me after I go first. Like, I play Hero Killer, they start off with sticky balls, and then I just, like, take this card out of my stage and be like, you don't get your sticky balls. I'm gonna pop off on you. Absolutely not. No, thank you. This card's nuts. Card's crazy. It's cracked.
Okay.
It's a 3 of for sure. It would be a 4 of if we had a bunch of weapons in our deck, but we do not. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Chatting the fakes, it really depends on how you're feeling about the card. I think this card's really good. I don't care about the -1 damage. I care about my opponent not being able to play a bonus check. It essentially says Breaker 2 without the block, right?
Oh, wow, yeah.
Which we don't have here. Like, we have actually 0 Breaker in our deck. And so this Breaker being on board, it's either that or they lose the attack, which we're super down with. It's they discarded a card. I'm in. I'm so in. Could not be more in.
Yeah. I'm feeling that for sure. I think I think that's one of the things I'm missing is card pool clogging / breaker.
Yeah.
Because really all I've had is sticky balls, and that's only done so much. So I'm super down for it.
Unexpected Hero, I think, is a bad card for our deck, but it is an option because our character says +3 speed, and then this says -3 speed. This could just be +3 damage, essentially, on a flip foundation. And then there's enough of my rival discarding on these symbols that it might be worth it, right? Things like Gran Torino, things like Eraserhead, things like Texas Smash, Midoriya 1, that maybe this card comes in. It's just plant a seed in your head that this card might be value at maybe like a 1 of, depending on how the meta evolves.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I love aiming for number 1, and I think every 6 hand-size character should probably be playing this card. I think 7 hand-size characters can get away with not doing it, but accidentally drawing 2 bonus cards is very good, especially with the $700 card Excited for Blood running around. This is just like anybody else's Excited for Blood, especially when fighting Excited for Blood.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Blood Curdle is just a non-hitting damage version of One for All, full counting 5% strike. So if you don't want to muddle your deck up with a non-EX, non-slam, non-kick move, then Curdle's the way to go. But it is a plus ultra card, so you just gotta get your hand on it. And then this is the most underrated plus ultra card that I've ever seen. Response remove after your rival plays an attack, add it to their hand, only playable if you have 10 health or less. This card in combination with this card is insane.
Yeah, Jesus.
Is insane. Hey, I'll take this damage after I'm -1. I'll go to 10. You play it. You pay for it by checking out and getting that -2 to your check. I'll just put this card back in your hand. You're 3 cards deep in your card pool. Yeah, you play that 4 diff on a 7 again. Oh, you don't have the resources for it? Sorry, man. Oh, that sucks. My turn again? Okay. I'll just slam you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so from here, we now have to like find room because like I think the order symbol got an insane glow up because of like these cards and these this attack and like Curdle dissolving. Like there's so much going on with this symbol in set 2 that like we just have to make hard choices. So I'm gonna ask you some hard stuff on the foundations that you've done. The first one is, what the heck is Travel by Tape doing in this deck? What is going on here?
I put it in as a 2 high. That was it.
Fair.
Yeah.
We have decent high blocks, and so like we've got Bonds of Friendship as just an option, right? And so these are the cards that you block. We don't want to block with these ones. If we had Travel by Tape or Bonds of Friendship, are you building the Bonds of Friendship? Are you holding both?
No, I'm usually holding the Bonds of Friendship. If I get both, I usually build the Travel by Tape. But I mean that's a high cost because it's a 2 check.
Right. Whereas like we've just put in 3 hero killers, I think we instantly just like toss this card out. This card's just gone.
Yeah, you're right.
58. What's this number look like? What number are we going to?
I've been running it kind of low,
Okay.
so I could get the attacks that I wanted to get, but I'm willing to go higher too,
I think
especially because
60 is the right number. Like I think if we actually stayed at 58 to 60, I think we're good.
okay,
Um,
we're
we've got 20 attacks, so that's a little more than a third of our hand. So every 2 attacks, right? We cycle. We sculpt a little bit, and Engine Rush getting a little more value out of the draw. Not to mention, we've got Calling for Backup. I'm demanding that we're putting some amount of Passing the Torches in our deck because it's so good as a head game.
Mhm.
It just feels great.
Yep, absolutely. I'm super down for that.
Okay, so I want to toss Challenge the Fakes in at a 2 of. I want Passing the Torch in at a 2 of. I think Fast is gone. Tape is not on our deck at all.
Yeah,
Spooky.
we need tape.
Spooky.
We probably need tape.
I don't know if we need tape exclusively because like it depends on our block zones, right? Our block zones are actually pretty good. If we were a little light here or a little light here, I'd be down for tape. But tape actually doesn't do anything without plus ultra.
Word, yeah.
Shock treatment, I love, and we'll see if we can find it. This card, I love. We'll see if we can find it. Aiming, I love. We'll see if we can find it. Putting so many cards in your deck, I'm so sorry.
Dude, you're good. That's why we're here.
Desperate Times. Man, I love Cross-It President. How do we find it? This one works. That one works. That one works. That one works, but we don't get to really benefit off of it. It's probably getting cut. I think Bonds is probably just better.
Mhm.
All right, where are we at now? 63. Okay, we can make some cuts. All right, so let's talk about Desperate Times. How are we looking spam wise? Difficulties. There. Back up. Okay, so we are allowed to. We're gonna cut this down to a 2 of. It's a totally
That's
fine 2 of card. We're allowed to cut some spam in order to make some room. This card punishes draw, which I think is going to be all over the place in set 1, set 2, right? Like this card's like a mandatory 4 of in set 1.
Right.
But I don't know if we necessarily need it because we've kind of replaced it with like this ice gliding fusion idea. Ice gliding fusion, fruits of our labors, right? These 5 cards make up these 4 cards.
Yeah.
And we are a little just ever. Oh, we're back to 19. We are a little low, right? Because this is a high block low. This is a high, man. This sucks. I think we have to cut this card.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna cut it for now. But it's gonna stay on the sideboard. Maybe mess around with it. I want to see like double if not triple Desperate Times to exist in the deck, and maybe we like take Gotcha and bring it down to a 3 of, right? 3 here, 3 here. Because I think the ability on Desperate Times is going to be really, really good for us up to 2017. Okay. We can get this cut down. We can get this cut down just a little bit. Like things like Bonds could go down to a 3 of. I think Natural Leader could come down to a 2 of. If we wanted to, we could cut Hero Killer down. But we've got great high blocks here, right? So if we needed to cut some numbers, we could do this and then refresh block zone, see where we're at. All right, 18, 17. This looks good. We are at our 60 number. We're closing in. We're closing in. And then low blocks. Triple Gotcha, triple self, 4 heroic feels great. Double fruits. I don't think that there's a better low block lineup here. Let's double check our thing. Yeah, I think Unexpected Hero just doesn't get to make the cut.
Yeah. I think it might be a good sideboard card in case I'm in a scenario where I'd need it, but I don't think it needs to main deck. Personally.
Yeah, I think it's just like a little greedy of like minusing 3 my own speed. It's basically like negating my character and like doubling down on the damage, right? It's really good when my opponent decides to like go all out and just like lose their hand, right? If they go with 1 card in hand and they block early, and I'm just like, oh, then I don't care about my speed, then it's like it's +6 damage on a flip, right? Which we have kind of on Heroic Lineage, so I think this card's actually just gone. See ya.
Yeah.
Oh, I got rid of the wrong one.
Oh, you're good, dude.
Whoops. You're good. Block zone. Okay, so now onto the mids. Requesting feels great. Shock treatment, sticky balls, calling, challenge, ice gliding. I actually love this lineup. I think if you were to cut anything, it's probably aiming.
Yeah.
Because it's a 3 diff. But I like the 60, right? 18, 25, 17. Those all feel great. Your average are 2s, not 3s.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with 60. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
That's
think
fine by
this
me.
is a I think this is a fine place to be. And if you're like playing cards and you're dying with abilities on board, like challenging, like aiming, like sticky balls, then like we start cutting things like shock treatment. If you're like, oh, I'm just like feel like I'm not playing this card that great, just cut it. You know,
Yeah.
get closer down to that 56, 58 range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Yeah.
I'm really, really liking this lineup, and I think it's fixing a lot of the issues I was having with, I don't know, just not having my foundations really working in my favor. And I think the stain cards are gonna help a lot. Especially, I really like Hero Killer. I don't know why I didn't even consider. I mean, I just didn't read through those cards all that much, I guess.
It's okay. I
But
mean,
those,
it's
yeah,
what I'm here for. You know,
exactly, man, exactly.
helping out where I can. Is
No,
there
yeah.
anything in here that you vehemently disagree with that you just like you absolutely can't stand? I can't believe you've done this to my really awesome Ingenium deck. Anything?
No, I think you took my pretty mid Ingenium deck and made it very awesome. So
I appreciate
yeah,
that.
I dig it. Yeah, man, for
Appreciate
sure.
that.
What would you sideboard, do you think?
So I don't normally do sideboards
That's okay. We
on
don't gotta
deck
do it. We don't
docs,
gotta do it.
and here's why,
We don't
right?
gotta do it.
I don't know
Yeah.
what your locals look like, and so I think
Mhm.
sideboarding for starting out decks should be locals based because locals dictate the meta of the game, which dictate the bigger, which dictate, and also I don't know about you, but I've personally have opened 0 Crimson Rampage cards. I've not played with any of these cards, and so I've only done TTS stuff, and it is very easy to be like, yo, I think the perceived value of this card is amazing, right? Like at the very end, Challenging the Fakes could just be like the world's biggest bait, but I value it at a 2 of here, and it should just leave. And so I think, or maybe it's exclusively a sideboard card, right? Like we've got to dig a little deep, and it helps you do it. Not to shill. It is one of the things that I really focus on in my coaching sessions. But I think it's just like that's like an hour and a half long conversation that we get to have on a singular character talking about maybe half the field of like what does a sideboard look like. So it's just tough to do in a 30-minute video, you know?
No, dude, you're absolutely good. Absolutely. Yeah, no. Well, in that case, I really, really appreciate this because I was like, I mean, I'm still new to deck building. This is the first like CCG that or like TCG in general that I've really gotten into.
Right.
And so figuring out like how cards interact with each other, how to combo off of cards, and figuring out what works and what doesn't has been a struggle. And having someone else come in and be like, okay, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. It helps a ton. So
Well, hell yeah. I really like polishing decks. I think I'm not very good at coming up with the initial idea, but if I see an idea, I can polish it pretty well. The number one thing when it comes to deck building and polishing is if you look at the quantity, we only have 1/4 of in your foundation lineup now.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
We only have 1/4 of in your attack lineup now. Mm-hmm. You're widening your net so that you have more options to fight more things, right? It is okay because we are a draw 6 game in your case as Ingenium, and drawing more with passing and calling and other cards that we get to spread our foundation base wide and play a bit wider of a net because there's actually like 177 options for decks to be played, and that's exclusively character triple symbol. Not to mention like the engines inside of the deck, which is gonna get crazy the more sets that we get.
Yeah, for real, man. It's already crazy now, but it's like, with all the set 2 stuff.
All right, man. I'm gonna shoot you this deck over, so don't quite leave yet as I close out the video. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on this Rad Ingenium deck in the comments down below. It'd be very cool to get some feedback, and join the Discord so that you can talk to Paul about all the terrible choices I've made for his deck.
or you can tell me about all the terrible choices that I make for my own decks.
Perfect. Hey, handshakes. Handshakes. With that, man, that was sweet. With that, man, I appreciate your time, and I'll send you the list. We'll see ya.
Sounds great, man.